He had spent years making her feel small. Not just small, but like a burden. Like she was weighing him down. Like she was holding him back. Like she was the reason he couldn't succeed. Year after year, day after day, word after word, until she believed him, until she felt guilty for existing, until she apologized for breathing. But sometimes, the moment you stop apologizing for existing is the moment you start living. This is a story about a woman who was told she was a burden, a woman who was told she was holding someone back, a woman who was told she should just disappear. This is a story about what happens when that woman becomes a billionaire philanthropist. Her name was Grace. She was 33 years old. Beautiful in the way that made people want to help her. Intelligent in the way that made people want to listen to her. Compassionate in the way that made people want to be near her. She had a good heart. A generous heart. A heart that wanted to help others. But she had a husband who didn't appreciate that. His name was David. They had been married for 8 years. 8 years of him telling her she was a burden. 8 years of him telling her she was holding him back. 8 years of him telling her she should just disappear. David was a businessman. A successful businessman. A very successful businessman. He made a lot of money. He had a lot of power. He had a lot of influence. And he wanted a wife who would be invisible. A wife who would support him. A wife who would serve him. A wife who would never question him. Grace tried to be that wife. She quit her job. She stayed home. She took care of the house. She took care of him. She did everything he asked. But it was never enough. He would come home and complain. The house wasn't clean enough. The food wasn't good enough. She wasn't pretty enough. She wasn't smart enough. She wasn't enough. Period. He would tell her she was a burden. He would tell her she was holding him back. He would tell her that if she wasn't around, he could do so much more. He would tell her that she was the reason he wasn't successful. She was the reason he wasn't happy. She was the reason his life was a failure. And Grace believed him. She felt guilty. She felt ashamed. She felt like she was ruining his life. She felt like she should just disappear. She started to withdraw. She stopped talking. She stopped laughing. She stopped living. She became a ghost in her own home. Invisible. Unwanted. A burden. She would spend hours alone, in the bedroom, staring at the ceiling, wondering what was wrong with her. She would cry silently so David wouldn't hear. She would apologize for things that weren't her fault. She would make herself smaller and smaller, trying to take up less space in his life. She wore clothes that didn't flatter her. She stopped wearing makeup. She stopped caring about her appearance. Because if she was invisible, maybe he would stop criticizing her. Maybe he would stop telling her she was a burden. Then one day, something changed. She was watching a documentary about a woman who had started a charity, a woman who had helped thousands of people, a woman who had made a difference in the world. And Grace felt something. She felt inspired. She felt hopeful. She felt like maybe she could do something like that. Maybe she could help people. Maybe she could make a difference. Maybe she could matter. That night, she told David. She said she wanted to start a charity. She said she wanted to help people. She said she wanted to make a difference. David's reaction was immediate. "Absolutely not," he said. "You're a burden. You can't even take care of yourself. How are you going to help other people? You're going to embarrass me. You're going to ruin my reputation. You're going to make me look bad. No. You're staying home. You're staying invisible. You're staying a burden." His words were harsh. His tone was cruel. His eyes were cold. And for the first time in 8 years, Grace didn't flinch. She didn't apologize. She didn't back down. She looked at him, and she realized something that would change everything. And Grace looked at him, and she realized something. She had spent 8 years trying to make him happy, and he had spent 8 years making her miserable. It was time to stop. She told him she was leaving. She told him she was going to start a charity. She told him she was going to help people. And she didn't care what he thought about it. David tried to stop her. He threatened her. He told her she would fail. He told her she was too stupid. He told her she was too weak. He told her she would come crawling back. But Grace didn't listen. She packed a single bag. She took only what she needed. She left her wedding ring on the kitchen counter. She walked out the door without looking back, and she never returned. But Grace didn't listen. She left. She started a charity. And she started small. She helped homeless people. She helped people in poverty. She helped people who had been forgotten by society. She worked day and night. She sacrificed everything. But she never gave up. And slowly, her charity grew. It grew from helping a few people to helping hundreds. From helping hundreds to helping thousands. From helping thousands to helping millions. She opened shelters. She opened food banks. She opened job training programs. She opened schools. She opened hospitals. She changed lives. Thousands of lives. Millions of lives. And with every life she changed, she felt more alive. With every person she helped, she felt more valuable. With every success, she felt more worthy. She was no longer a burden. She was a healer. She was a savior. She was a hero. She opened shelters. She opened food banks. She opened job training programs. She opened schools. She opened hospitals. She changed lives. Thousands of lives. Millions of lives. And as her charity grew, so did her wealth. She started receiving donations, large donations, from wealthy people who believed in her mission, from corporations who wanted to support her work, from governments who wanted to partner with her. And slowly, she became wealthy. Not just wealthy, but a billionaire, a self-made billionaire, a billionaire who had built her wealth through helping others, a billionaire philanthropist. She was recognized. She was respected. She was celebrated. She was everything David had told her she could never be. She was invited to speak at universities. She was featured in magazines. She was nominated for humanitarian awards. She was on the cover of Forbes. She was on the cover of Time. She was on the cover of every major publication in the world. And David saw it all. He saw her success. He saw her happiness. He saw her transformation. And it destroyed him. Then one day, she was invited to speak at a major international conference, the biggest conference in the world. She was going to talk about her work. She was going to talk about the millions of lives she had changed. She was going to inspire other people to help. David heard about it. He decided to attend. He wanted to see her fail. He wanted to see her stumble. He wanted to see her prove him right. He wanted to see her come crawling back. But that's not what happened. Grace walked onto that stage. She was radiant. She was confident. She was powerful. She was everything she had always been. But now, the world could see it. She talked about her journey. She talked about the burden she had felt. She talked about the man who had told her she was worthless. She talked about how she had overcome that. She talked about the millions of lives she had changed. She talked about the future she was building. And the crowd erupted. Standing ovation. Cheers. Applause. And in the audience, David sat frozen. His face went pale. His mouth opened. But no words came out. Because he was seeing something he had never expected to see. He was seeing the woman he had called a burden. And she was a billionaire philanthropist. She had changed millions of lives. She had made a difference in the world. She had become everything he had told her she could never be. David tried to approach her after the speech. but security stopped him. Grace saw him, and she smiled. A real smile. A smile that said, "I'm free." A smile that said, "I'm powerful." A smile that said, "You were wrong about me." Then she turned away, and she walked out of that conference, and she didn't look back. David stood there, frozen, because he had just realized something. The woman he had called a burden, the woman he had spent years destroying, the woman he had tried to erase, had become something he could never be. She had become a healer. She had become a savior. She had become a hero. And she had done it without him. In fact, she had done it in spite of him. Years later, Grace would be asked about David in interviews, in podcasts, in documentaries, and she would always say the same thing. "I'm grateful for him. Not because he was kind, but because he taught me something important. He taught me that I was stronger than I thought. He taught me that my compassion was a strength, not a weakness. He taught me that helping others was my purpose, and that lesson changed my life." Grace went on to mentor hundreds of young philanthropists, people who had been told they were burdens, people who had been told they were worthless, people who had been told to give up. She showed them that they could make a difference, that they could change the world, that they could be heroes, and many of them did. They started charities. They helped people. They changed lives. All because Grace showed them it was possible. If you're listening right now, and you've been told you're a burden, know this: you are not a burden. You are valuable. You are worthy. You have something to contribute to the world. And the moment you believe that is the moment you change the world. If you believe justice always unfolds, you already know what to comment.